Alright, I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. So I just recorded a video talking about the Sabrent USB hub that Mike just made a video on. He made a video review about it, and I was like, yeah, I already have that, and I use it. But it got me thinking, let me make a video to help people, even though I've talked about it in some of my other videos, how to help people who have configured their USB game controllers in an emulator, and they're wondering why all of a sudden it's not working. So I'll show you one of the possible causes why it's not working, and I'll show you how to fix that in this video. But when I originally recorded it, I had because I'm dumb. I had two microphones enabled, one of them on my phone, and I was recording wirelessly. So if anybody watched my channel before, you know if I record wirelessly, my analog mic, my poorly shielded analog mic on my desktop picks up squeaky sounds. So I got the squeaky sounds and I got the double audio of my voice recorded from my phone and my desktop's analog mic. So I should have just went with the phone mic in that case, but I was scared it was going to cut out because when I record wirelessly, it's okay if the video clips a little bit, but if the audio bugs out a little bit, that makes the video really annoying. So I'm just gonna play back the video I made with the sound muted, and I'll do a voiceover of what I was trying to convey to everybody. So that's what I'm gonna do right here. So right here is the just play it back in VLC. So right here is the unit, the Sabrent unit that Mike did a video on, and I'll try to put a link to this in the description field, the link to his review. So let me start playing my video, and I'll tell you what I was what I was trying to explain in the original video. Play. There we go. All right. So I'm showing you there's the USB device, the Sabrent USB device that Mike was talking about in this video. Yeah, I have one. So this Idea Center that I have right here, it only has one USB A out and one USB C out. So I don't really have a lot of options there, and I want my son to be able to play games on this little ThinkPad. So I needed some more USB A connections. So I got that hub, and it has on/off buttons. You know, it has a blue LED when the USB port's enabled, which is nice. So right here, I think I'm complaining about the fact that I should have bought one that has Ethernet jack on it. If you're gonna get one of those uh, USB hubs, get one. Why not get one that also has an Ethernet adapter on it? So I screwed up there. So while it's a good hub, it would be better to have wired network connectivity on it, because the idea pad, this little device right here, it doesn't have a dedicated RJ45 jack, so that sucks. So also what I'm talking about here is, if you let me pause this. That's very blurry. Let me pause this. Not so blurry. Wait for this dumb guy to pan out a little bit, or zoom out. Sorry. So what I'm saying here is, if you have a if you have your USB controllers hooked up to a system and your USB controllers are exactly the same, it's not going to matter, because all the button assignments, as long as the board inside are the same, this whatever designation this green button is right here, if that's button 3 on this controller, that's going to be button 3 on that controller. So if these controllers swapped assignments, like if this controller here became controller 1 and this one here became controller 2, or vice versa, it would still work because all the buttons are mapped to the same button designation, if you know what I mean. Like I said, this one, button 1, that would be button 3, that would be button 3, etc. So yeah, right there, I'm using the same controller on the ThinkPad, so there's no problem. I don't ever have to worry about once I set it up, it's going to be fine, even if it detects the controllers backwards. But I'm going to show you where you run into the problem. I'm going to bring the camera to my laptop, where I have a controller that I like, my higher end controller that I like to use. And then I plug one of these controllers in to the laptop, and now I have a situation where I have two controllers. So here I'm starting the game right here. A game, one of my son's favorite games. He likes to play and beat me up in it. In fact, I'm probably going to make a video showing all the combos my son has taught me how to do in the game. Let me make sure, yeah, all right, making sure I'm catching the audio this time. Make sure I'm not making another error. So right here, I'm starting the game up and I'm showing you everything works, right? Player 1, player 2, start buttons work. I'm moving around with player 1 on player 1 controller. Now I'm moving around on player 2 with player 2 controller. Everything works. Now I'm going to take one of these controllers and I'm going to bring it over to the laptop. Put down the camera for a second so I could get it out. Pull it out. Get a nice look at my ceiling. Alright, so here's the laptop, and there's the controller that it's like a higher quality controller that I use. It's called I think it's called a Pokin controller. Pokin? I don't remember. It'll say it on the screen in a second. I can't remember the name of that for some reason. So I'm gonna plug in this device that I brought from the IdeaPad. Plug it into my laptop here. So now I got my preferred controller and that the cheaper controller, which I also mentioned in the video that I bought those on Amazon. If anybody wants to know what kind they are, they're actually a lot better than I expected. The D-pad works well, the buttons are fine. So right now I'm telling you this may or may not work. I'm starting the game up and I don't know which controller has been controlled, been assigned controller 1 or controller 0 in this case, the first controller, because that matters, because everything needs to be mapped the way it was mapped when you did it. So basically I'm pressing start here. I don't know if that's player 1 or player 2, doesn't matter. All the button mappings are messed up, nothing's working. That's assigned the start button, that's not doing anything, it's not working. Same thing on this one, pressing that button, nothing's happening. It's like all the buttons are backwards. The start button's mapped to another button on one of the two controllers, and I don't know which one because everything's wrong. So yeah, my dopey self is still complaining. I mean, explaining. I should be turning the game off any second now. Turn the game off. So exit the game. We're gonna go to control panel. But I'm rambling on. Control panel, man. And I did mention while I was recording this, yes, I should have been showing. I wanted you guys to see the physical stuff instead of me just putting. I could have put both computers on the computer I was recording with on OBS so the screens would look nice. But so there's the Pokin control. How do you say it? Pokin controller. Pokin controller and the USB gamepad, right? So I'm gonna right click there, go to game controller settings. Now when I originally configured this, Pokin controller was first in the list, number 1. That's how the buttons were mapped. You see they're flipped now. USB gamepad's at the top. Pokin controller was at the top when I configured everything. So that's what I'm explaining right here. So how to fix that? We're going to remove the first controller. We're going to remove USB gamepad, remove the device. Pop the USB, put it back in. So Windows detects the device again, throws the driver on it again, but this time it's going to move it as the second device. So I'll show you that in the list. So there it is, unspecified. It's putting driver to device right now, and there it is. It knows what it is now. Go to game controller settings. Now Pokin controllers the first device and the USB gamepad's the second device, which was the order they were in when I mapped all the buttons. So now the INI or config file in um, whatever emulator you set it up in will be pointing at the correct device now. Windows will be like, hey man, this this is controller 1, this is controller 2. Now your emulator's like, yeah, I know, I set those up. So I'm gonna start the game again. Wish my son was here to beat me up in it, but he's not. Press start on controller 1. You see start button's working now. Press start on moving around on controller 1. Press start on controller 2. I'm moving around on controller 2. Everything's right now. All the button assignments, all the D-pad assignments all match up now because the the controls are in the correct order in the OS. And you're going to run into a problem. This isn't going to work. If you haven't seen my other videos, if you're using Mame, you want to set your config files for each game to read only after you set them up. Because every time you start Mame, it looks for your input devices. If your input device isn't there, it'll remap all those functions to default stuff like keyboard keys and stuff like that. So that's a bad thing about Mame. I hate that it does that. But yeah, that's if you do have everything saved correctly and you set those config files to read only, like I talk about in one of my other videos, and your buttons still aren't working, this video right here, that's the reason it's not working, because your USB gamepad devices are in the wrong order. But like I said, if they're in the if they're the same, you don't even have to worry about this if you have the same controller. But yeah, if you have two, for people who have two different controllers, I hope this helps somebody out there. So everybody have a good Saturday. Maybe I'll make another video later showing some combos my son taught me or something else. I don't know. Anyway, everybody take it easy. Have a good Saturday. I'm going to do some cleaning and laundry and all that fun stuff.